man. And subscribe to Foolish Club Media. This is the Nightly Fix. Steve Serda with the good hair. Big Osita, no hair, but he's still big business. I am Ron the show. Like and subscribe. If you don't, I hope that vasectomy didn't work. Shout out to you on either side. On either side. If you have the audacity not to like and subscribe as we try to reach new heights. Shout out to the Kelsey brothers, but as we try to reach new heights, if you don't, I hope that vasectomy didn't take.
Still fertile, baby. Still fertile.
Like that man told me. I tell you about my experience. My man told me. He said, look, he was playing, I believe, Van Halen. I believe he had Van Halen going big time. And he said, hey, listen, I really, like to this is kind of my weight room, kind of workout music. And, I tend to like to do it when I'm performing these. He's like, if you don't like, he said, if you have an issue with the music, I totally can turn it off. I say, hey, man, you listen to whatever the hell you want to listen to. But
hell yeah.
Well, you burning me off. That's what he told me. He said, now, and then right when he started, he said, now look, Ron. He said, now, are you sure you want to do this? Because I'm gonna really tear that shit up down there.
He said that word. What are we talking about?
Word for word. The vasectomy. My vasectomy I got.
I thought something happened in like the back of a gas station or something, dude.
No, man. Out in Sugarland.
That sounds like you got it done in like an abandoned warehouse.
Yeah,
man. Hey, dude is top of the line. Best, especially from people I've heard stories from. My old boss avoided me for a month because he had such a bad vasectomy situation, and he knew mine was coming behind him. My man, we got in there. He started playing that music. He said, first, do you mind? I'm certain it was, and I believe it was Sammy Hagar, Van Halen is who it was, and not David Lee Roth. But that man, he said, you don't mind if I play? I said, man, you play whatever hell you got. You want to play whatever you got to do to fix this. And
just lock in.
Yeah, lock the hell in. That motherfucker said, yeah, listen, I'm gonna burn this up. So if you want this, he said, if you want to reverse this, it's gonna be real hard to reverse this. So you want to make sure you want this. I said, go ahead, man, do what you got to do. And I'm telling you, the process, man. I smelled some burnt smell, but other than that, man, I rolled through, baby. And I was probably, I felt it a little bit, had the peas or whatever, but I was good, man. About 2-3 days, man, I wasn't bad.
Yeah.
I heard my boss told me, he said immediately in it, hey man, I'm feeling this. I feel it. He had to be taken out in a wheelchair.
Oh no.
Not my experience.
No.
He should have gone to the warehouse apparently where you guys
yeah,
man, he told that motherfucker to put on that Van Halen is what he should have told him to.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea to, spade and neuter your pets after a certain age, especially when you get to like 50. You don't want to go and
oh boy,
you don't want to be having kids after 50. You know what I'm saying?
I won't introduce them to you, Osita, but I sure hope. I hope I hope I can't even wish that upon my biggest enemy, Jim Nance. I hope his went smooth. I can't put that on anybody I don't like. But boy, I'm telling you, I had a great experience. My man took care of me. He knew where I worked too, because I was gonna tell that shit all over Houston radio if he'd fucked my. I'd have told it. Hey, the Knicks are done. Osita, you got to feel real good about yourself tonight. The Knicks, I feel
not quite, man.
This is not exactly how you want to see it done.
131-21.
They got game 5. They're going back to New York. You want them to get their hearts broken at home? Because that's
I'd prefer they pull it off in New York and let the series continue a little bit. Yeah, let the series continue a little bit.
Would you rather
let them get wild in New York one more time? You know what I'm saying?
See, I'm with you. I want this to continue. Now, would you be in the space of, hey, continue win 6 again, even win game 6 in Indy to go back home to New York, and now they believe that it is going to happen, and they get their hearts broken at home by the Pacers?
You know, ideally, I want them to go to the finals because I do want.
Oh, you want them to go to the finals?
I got a little bit of love for New York. You know what I mean? It is a cultural powerhouse, and a lot of cool things come out of New York.
You don't like their fans,
and I just don't like their fans, and I want their fans to be heartbroken in such a way that they continue to shut the fuck up about it. You know what I mean? Like they just stop. They just stop dead in their tracks. They're like, you know what? We're never doing this again. We're never going to fucking start throwing trash at people again.
I think losing it at game 7, that I don't know if those people can handle it. I don't. If they were to win the next 2 games and give them that kind of belief. By the way, now we're at extinct time, fellas. TNT is done. The next time the Knicks lose, they're done. Like the studio show with Ernie, Charles Barkley, Shaq, Kenny Smith. The next time the Knicks lose, they are going fishing. They're done, and then they'll of course move to ESPN next year. But TNT, NBA basketball was been there. Like I mean, I got to believe, sir, the 30 years. The NBA has been on TNT. It's been a long time.
I was actually listening to an Ernie Johnson interview like earlier today.
Ernie Johnson. Is Ernie Johnson the only person in sports media that is just not hated by somebody? Like who else is
He's just the nicest, sweetest person that's like ever lived.
But there is no one, and Osita is foreign to him who Ernie Johnson is. I can feel it. But
I'm Googling.
Ernie E.
I recognize him. him. In halftime of an NBA.
Oh, yeah. I know this guy.
Big Ern. Yeah, he is the face of TNT. Seriously, obviously, Jim Nance has many detractors. Many people hate Jim Nance. Many people. Hell, even because you said
Jim Nance despises him.
Yes. I'm not alone. Sean Sharif, who does mornings in Dallas, hates him. Tony Romo, his partner, hates him. Billy Packer from the grave, I believe, hates him. Greg Anthony probably doesn't think he stood up for him enough when he ran into that hooker situation, that prostitute situation in D.C. when they were doing the Michigan State Maryland regular season game, which lost him his gig. Oh, you don't know about that? Do you know about that? Do you remember that? Do you remember that, sir? The Greg Anthony losing his gig.
You remember something about
Greg Anthony was the one. Osita. Billy Packer had retired, right? He was Billy Packer. Billy Packer had outlasted Jim Nance. Billy Packer was the play-by-play guy for college basketball. He was the voice of college basketball. I'm talking before Jordan. Maybe that's not it. But Jordan around the Jordan. No, it's before Jordan because he was doing the Hakeem. They won it on the dunk. And then he retired in 2008. Oddly enough, he retired when my team, the Kansas Jayhawks, had a comeback for the history books. Rock Chalk Championship. Kansas takes the title. That's what Jim said before I liked him. That was Billy's last game. And then Greg Anthony was taking over for him. And it was going just swimmingly. Greg was doing a great job. And then they had a regular season game at the University of Maryland. And if I remember, I believe it was Michigan State at Maryland. And he ran into the thought of hitting up a prostitute in the DC area. And that prostitute worked for the DC Police Department.
Yeah.
And they got his ass. And Greg lost that job. Now, but Serda, to Greg's stick-to-itiveness, never give up spirit, right? You know, Jim Valvano spoke about never give up for cancer, but I think it was for other things. And Greg Anthony took it to heart because Greg has fought himself back to getting a gig back with NBA TV and Turner, and now he's calling basketball games. Now they won't let him touch college basketball, and I think CBS is done with him. But he is now back to it. Now it took him every bit of 15, maybe 10 years, but he got back. And that little blip on the screen about those hookers and those prostitutes that he ran into in the DC area. And come on, man, who can't get you in the Chocolate City? You ain't never walked the streets of the Chocolate City and saw that administered potentially for you. I had a hooker walk up to me on the streets at 16. I had on a North Carolina Tar Heel football jersey for some reason, and I was at a family reunion. And I'm telling you, and they walked up on me. I thought I had a shot. Fucking suck. $100, I believe, was the words I got from that young lady. And I'm telling you, it's out there for you. Shout out to Greg Anthony.
To be fair, I did some Googling on Greg Anthony, as I usually do during this podcast when I hear a name that is unfamiliar to me. And he is from Las Vegas, Nevada.
That's right.
And
UNLV,
Nevada, it's legal. It's legal in Nevada.
Not,
you know what I mean?
It was not legal in around 2010,
but I mean,
2012 in Washington, D.C.
Old habits die hard. You know what I mean? And if he's used to Friday night, you know, a little bit Saturday night, you know, he's used to what he's used to.
You know? His career was on life support until finally it came through. So, it did. All habits.
I did kind of forget about Greg Anthony. He used to be kind of.
He was really good, too.
A staple in NBA television for a while there. I totally forgot about
No,
Greg.
he was supposed to be. Now, it opened up the door for us to get Bill Raftery. And somehow, what has to piss Greg off the most, the guy who would beat him in the Final Four, Grant Hill has slid himself into that spot now. Well, you know, Greg gets to do some studio show. They might throw him Raptors Kings that he gets to do, but he's not back to where he was. This could still be his gig right now. So shout out to Greg Anthony. But I digress. The back to it. The Knicks are done, and I don't know when it's going to happen. I think it would be good for Adam Silver, the human penis, the commissioner, if the Knicks were able to stave off and get another game to Game 6. But I think this is up. They're up 3-1, as you see there. They won 130-121 tonight. And I know when you hear this comp, it may catch you off guard. Probably you, Serda, more than Osita. But I've been saying this for about a week, and it made me look even better tonight. I think we are witnessing the new Steph Curry. I think right now, right before our very eyes, we are witnessing Tyrese Halliburton turn into the next Steph Curry. Tonight, Tyrese, 32 points, and he was going from the get-go. Triple-double, 32 points, 15 rebounds, 15 assists, 12 rebounds, and he had 0 turnovers tonight. He had 15 assists to 0 turnovers. And when I say the next Steph Curry, I don't mean it that, you know, they play the same, but these are two guys that were never, ever the plan to be potential faces of the league or as big as they got in the league. They were never the plan. It happened organically because they just were that good. Like LeBron and KD were planned, right? Like we looked at them, we saw them. LeBron, hell, we knew him since he was 15. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and he was in high school. KD, we knew of him, and then he went to Texas that one year, and it was like, damn, who is that dude? By the way, KD wasn't the number 1 pick in the Greg Oldham out there with the badass knees. Somehow, somebody picked him over Kevin Durant. But nobody expected light-skinned, 160-pound Stephen Curry to now be what 1A second, face of the league during the time that LeBron was there. Like nobody expected that. Nobody has expected Tyrese Halliburton, but we've got the thing with his dad, who, by the way, he showed up at the game for the first time. He was in the box though. They kept his ass off the floor. They didn't let him get on the floor towards any players. But we got the thing with his dad. He's got personality. He did the choke thing. I mean, was ready as soon as they won. They had a moment. He went off again tonight. And I think he is becoming a huge, huge star. And this is he doesn't play like Steph, but this is the player in which, that's the guy that came absolutely out of nowhere. Did not see him coming. Did not plan for him coming. Right? We know Anthony Edwards was the number one pick. Kind of thought he would get there. But where did this come from? And I think he's kind of got that Steph Curry type of out of nowhere star that has the potential to be the face. And we've been talking about Anthony Edwards, talking about he doesn't want to be the face. And Jokic, just doesn't even want to be in the country. He just wants to play with his horses and drink beer. Luka, who knows with him? But this dude wants it. This dude wants it, and he's good enough. So, Pacers, I think they're going to pull it out, and I think we're looking at and witnessing before our very eyes the next Steph Curry in this bitch.
And I don't know if I'm willing to go that far.
Again, I'm not saying they're the same type of player. He actually reminds me of Steve Nash, like a current version and bigger version of Steve Nash. The way he plays his game. I'm just like LeBron and Jordan's game weren't the same. No. I'm just simply saying who was the next one. It was LeBron. I think this is the sneak up on you star.
No, and he's still young, but he's been in the league for a while now. And Pascal Siakam averaged more points than he did in the regular season this year.
That's why I'm saying he's like the Steve Nash, Steve Nash. He's filling up.
And he's a really talented player. So
I think he may have led the league in assists. I could be just flat line.
No. And he's a really, really talented player. And I'm not trying to discredit anything that he's done in his career. He is very, very good. But I also think I've been wondering this a little bit about the NBA and this whole debate of it's the age right now of this kind of aging superstar phase where LeBron and Steph are on the way out and KD is just kind of existing, but KD is not in the
it could change. It can change if KD goes somewhere else like Houston. But
sure,
I get what you're saying.
But it's and then Giannis, and this offseason's really big. If Giannis winds up leaving Milwaukee and landing somewhere else, there's still star players in the league, but it's it's weird right now where it's kind of a lot of teams have kind of tried to take this Celtics approach of just depth, be able to rotate guys in and out, be balanced and play sound. Even necessarily if you don't have a superstar, as long as you have a guy like Tyrese Halliburton who can take over in the big moments and you have those guys, then you can make it work if you're a balanced enough team. And I think that's really what we're seeing with the Pacers and the Thunder. They're both kind of similar in that regard. They run deep and they play well all around, and none of them have guys they have guys that are stars, but they have guys that but nobody's oh, you would call Tyrese Halliburton one of the 5 to 10 best players in the NBA. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is really, really good, but he certainly is far from a household name. They have star players, but they're not your typical household NBA type of players that we would expect to see at this time of the game.
No, and listen, and a lot of it has to do with personality and just just having that it factor. I think Tyrese Halliburton has it. SGA doesn't. He looks like a vampire that just wants to just go out, do his work, and go home. And and I don't know what he wants to do later at night, but
looks like a reptile.
Reptile, vampire, kind of a combination there. Yeah, it does. But like I think, to me, there is nobody whose status has risen more than Halliburton in these playoffs. I think Anthony Edwards is kind of starting to drop a little bit. They have tried everything they can to make Anthony Edwards be the next guy.
Well, why didn't he just get married? Have some kids, settle down.
Well yeah, we can get into that.
Why didn't he just
maybe that's the thing.
Be a family man.
Maybe that's the thing that's holding him back. Serda, can you check that out? Is Tyrese Halliburton a family man? If you don't know what Osita is talking,
he ain't got no kids.
If you don't
got no kids, no wife.
If you don't know what Osita is talking about,
I don't.
Your favorite Kendrick Perkins had some comments about Anthony Edwards, and basically, and it's really comical when you hear who he ran through of the guys when he said, "Hey man, I think one of the things that's maybe potentially holding Anthony Edwards back, and if y'all know Anthony Edwards, have you dug in a little bit, Osita, on Anthony Edwards, that little child situation that he has, in which, like,
he was the one who was just like, he had a baby and it was like, I'm just gonna pay it off, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna pay that thing off.
Like, he was like a flat car payment.
Magic Johnson and all of this.
Yeah, he went Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird.
Does he know who Magic Johnson was?
Does he know who Kobe Bryant was in Colorado? He made Colorado. He mentioned Kobe. Just go Google up Reggie Theus and Michael Jordan's first wife, as that was her get back guy to Mike, was Reggie Theus, who also doubled as the coach and teacher on that teen basketball show I used to watch on NBC. Oh God, what was the name of that damn show?
On Saturday mornings.
Yes, it was a very thick, juicy. Anthony Anderson was on it, but Reggie Theus, Reggie Theus,
that is weird.
Hang time, yes, hang time, yes, because Dick Buckus was the coach at first, and then Reggie Theus, who there's a large rumor that he was who Joanna Jordan, Michael's first wife, decided to go and say, "You want to cheat on me? This is who I'm going to go to." And I'm going to find and hunt down Reggie Theus, a guy that's played against you. But anyway, Reggie Theus was the coach on Hang Time, Running Together. I had to sing the song in my head to get that, man. They had that female basketball player that was a cold-ass point guard that everybody on the team wanted a piece of, except for Anthony Anderson, because he just knew he didn't have that one in him. But no, I mean, he goes through. So Kendrick Perkins said, I think Anthony Edwards needs to start to kind of go into the same light and kind of settle down and become a family man, just like a lot of the other greats have done in basketball, like the Michael Jordans, the Magic Johnsons, the Larry Birds, and mind you, many of these guys either aren't with their significant others at the time, or their significant other is Cookie. And then there's you talk about ride or die. There has never been anyone more ride or die. You can have your Jackie Kennedys, you can have your Hillary Clintons. There is nobody who has been more ride or die than Cookie Johnson. Now, Magic, and he goes through Kobe, like Colorado didn't happen in this lifetime. He went through he went through a lot and said he needs to settle down. Listen, obviously,
he's the worst analyst in sports. He's a moron.
Again,
he's
Steve,
not.
I want to shift to this.
Terrible.
I want to shift to this conversation, Steve, because I want you to be able to try hard. Damn it, you're going on vacation. I want you to be able to try your hardest to just not just lash out of your anger towards Kendrick Perkins in this conversation. But I want to have a conversation that goes beyond Kendrick Perkins. And I want you to try to just not take this conversation into a space of what you're doing right now. And that's lash out at Kendrick Perkins because it's bigger
Perkins
than
ain't
him.
shit. Sorry, what?
It's bigger than this. This is where I want to go.
I'm pretty sure he bangs shooters off camera, like before first take.
That is clearly, that is something we are not aware of. We do not know. There's nothing truthful about that. Again, can you get it
Allegedly?
Can you get it out of your
shooters.
system? Can you get it out of your system? Because I want to go beyond this. I just like as you have it, put it up there. Oh, did you just come up with this? Because you didn't hear it. Because you got Kendrick Perkins' awful take up rather quickly on the deal. This is though I want to go with this though in this conversation this doesn't even just cover sports, but this is what we do and we see. Like what do you all, a legit question, and those of you on the chat, you can jump in on this too. And again, can you all too as well, just not lash out. But this is beyond Kendrick Perkins because he is not the only person in media who I believe have gotten to a place where guys feel like they're good with running with takes like this, whether it is at a local level, a national level, a podcast level, but run with yes, Kendrick, this is an asinine take, right? Like there's some dudes that are married right now that, oh boy, yeah, boy, they've got the answer. They've got it smoking right here, right? Like it's in Puck. You have to be a family man, all right? Shoot, LeBron's been a family man for the last 10 years. Is that it? Or 8 years? That shit ain't worked, okay? But just saying, Bradley Beal, I think, is a really good family man. It hasn't worked for him. But seriously, what do you think has led to guys with these big mics, big wherever they are in this industry, and even coming from a former player where there's usually a code of but to just get out and just make these kind of just aggressive takes. Like Stephen A will make aggressive takes about anybody with LeBron, like that time when he hit Kevin Durant with, "You don't want to make an enemy out of me. I promise you don't want to do that." And then what he did a couple of weeks ago. That's why I don't like LeBron. That's why I don't like and put out. Remember, he put out the stuff saying, anybody wonder why he didn't show up at Kobe Bryant's memorial service, and then he had to come back and retract that because he did. What has gotten us to this point? You go listen to the stuff that's being talked about with Bill Belichick. It is this is a new thing. What do you think has led to this kind of what felt like was off limits, or man, we ain't gonna go there, to guys just, nah, man, I'm gonna go ahead and make a take like this?
I think, all right, first of all, I don't have anything. I have no problems with what Kendrick Perkins said. I think if Anthony Edwards got himself a strong black woman, instead of dipping his feet in the snow and got himself a strong black woman to get behind him, he could really be the face of the NBA. Okay. Obviously, people say shit on the internet nowadays to try and get as many views as possible, and I think that's bled over into journalism to an insane amount. Like you said with Stephen A. Smith, and I think it has to do with the fact that a lot of things you're not necessarily creating the content for the television anymore. You're creating it for the fact that you're going to post it somewhere later and you want it to go viral. So the easiest way to go viral from your television show, which usually only has a finite amount of viewers, is to say the dumbest shit possible, which is what I was trying to convey earlier with my Snow Bunny black woman take.
I think there's something to what you're saying there. I don't know if they're saying, let me come up with the dumbest shit that they can come up with, But I do think there is a theory of, hey man, like, all right, this shit is competitive, right? We do a nightly show, right? There are a lot of shows happening right now. Shannon and Ocho Cinco. By the way, I believe it's the only thing Shannon's got rolling right now. Some of his podcast stuff. Like it is such a. There's so much going on around the space that I feel like people are trying so hard to stand and stick out that they're not just going to the lab or going to their thoughts with, all right, hey, all right, let me just kind of come up what I saw. Let me kind of come up with what makes me feel like what I look at and see as the real of it. Let me come out, just give you what I see as the legit take that I have. And Serda, you've seen this. We've seen it. I think guys are sitting there. All right, what can to a space of what Osita's saying? What can I do to stand out? What can I do to stand out? What can I do to stand out? And like Perk is like, man, everybody's kind of coming up with a similar take on Anthony Edwards. Now, this one will stand out. And this one may get me, talked about a little bit potentially. And I think there's some of it, but I think it stems from that deal of, boy, I gotta be different. And I think when you see guys like Charles Barkley, their mindset is not, I gotta be different. I'm just gonna say whatever the fuck I want to say, and it's probably in some way or fashion going to be different. And then I get publicity and thoughts like that. But I think just with so much out there and so much of trying to stand out, we get to a point where I think that man sit down and thought, man, what's different about him with these other guys? Oh man, Jordan was married, Larry was married, all this, but didn't get around to it. But this will stick out. This is not just, he wasn't he was passive in the game. This was not just, he was such and such. No, man. This is one I have talking. This will start a conversation. And I think that is where a lot of this comes in, because Steve, you've been around this. I know you, how you feel about Kendrick Perkins. God understands. We all know, but he is not alone in just coming up with, well, hold on.
That's
how the hell did we like? How do we get here?
That's the shtick now, and that's annoying. I think that's low hanging fruit. I think that it's easy to say outlandish things that you don't believe because you tell yourself like, I'm spending time thinking about things.
I think he forced himself to believe it.
I'm trying to be different. And it's like, no, like, I think the people that are really different are the people that really put time and effort into the things that they say. They don't just say random thoughts that pop into their head. Like, I think Nick Wright and Dan Lebitard and Bomani Jones, like, I think those are people in our industry who are really, really good at what they do. I think that they're very smart and they're very intelligent and they're very well thought out in how they approach everything that they put out into the world.
I disagree with it. I disagree with that.
Is certainly not that. Also, like, I can respect Charles just saying whatever the hell comes to his mind, because Charles was actually good at basketball. Kendrick Perkins was not good at basketball.
Steve,
again,
you can't see.
Not good at basketball. Not good at being an analyst. Why are we still talking about Kendrick Perkins and his awful opinions about anything? I don't give a damn what Kendrick Perkins has to say.
Again, Steve, you cannot complete the mission whatsoever. And then at one point, I clearly saw that you didn't give a shit about trying to complete the mission.
You knew what you know what he
But
was
I
gonna
mean,
do.
he was doing.
You knew this.
But he was doing so well, and then he just spun it back to how we got to Kendrick wasn't good at basketball conversation.
You want a Tiger to change his stripes?
I
Huh?
just
Is that what you want?
I wanted to get a better effort from him in doing so, and he just didn't give a damn. Like I said, man, we've seen many guys just. I took this to a guy in the industry that runs programming, and I won't put his name out there, but I kind of had this similar question to him, and the answer he kind of gave was, he said, I think it's just trying to create something out of nothing. So thinking about Perk, he's doing it to kind of jar without saying something fireable, trying to get in there to say something without saying something fireable. He said, I wish guys and ladies would understand being smart is actually something that sells well on sports media when it's prepped out. But we don't always see that. I don't think that is the case, right? I don't think we always just see smart. And I want to jump in on the point you've made. Like, yes, there are guys that are habitual with it. But man, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I've probably had a couple where I've overthought it. I've probably had a couple where I think, hell, we used to do prep where you or Vern or somebody would be like, yeah, man. Like Vern's big thing to me would be, man, who said that? You're just having a straw man argument. Like you who said that? Did you come up with that yourself to have somebody to go up against? And like I think you when you're trying to get content, you're competing with everybody. Because I've heard Nick step into it where I'm like, yeah, you're trying to really reach there. You're trying to really reach there. You remember that time when that fool Colin Cowherd said,
fairness, he does way more than Kendrick Perkins does.
I'm not again,
way more on a weekly basis than Kendrick Perkins does.
And again,
for his spots here and there on ESPN.
But first off, that's absolutely not true. Kendrick Perkins is the number one broadcast or studio show team, NBA Countdown. He is on Get Up and he is on First Take every day, and he is a mainstay daily on NBA TV. And he does a Richard Jefferson podcast, Richard Jefferson and somebody else podcast. So, like, hey, calm down on Rich, on Kendrick. Again, stop steering this to Kendrick Perkins because you know you can't live in the lane of Kendrick Perkins. I'm just saying, you remember that time Colin Cowherd, who I know has thought out, who hit us with that, hey, LeBron, you can bow out now, man. Ben Simmons is here. We don't.
Hey.
He said, and I quote, "We're good here, dog. You can go." Now he well thought this shit out, and he knew at that point that Ben Simmons had only attempted 3 3-point field goals from high school up into his time in the NBA at that time, and he's a guard. He knew all of that, had all of that information. He went on there with a well thought out one, and I know he thinks it out. We're good, dog. LeBron, you can hang it up. Ben Simmons is here. He's got it. I've heard Le Batard do this. Like I've heard trying to reach and go a little further over. I think that is the big key of kind of what Osita was saying is to a point you say clicks, and I think that makes it sound worse. But I think it is how can I stand out?
But is it not reduced down to clicks at the end of the day?
It is, and that's why I said you're saying it. But I don't think these guys are thinking. I think there is a deal because what is pounded in our minds, right? And I think it's a disagreement. I disagree now that I've been in the business of pounding. That's why I've never said this in conversations that we've had, Osita, about stuff. I would just be you, and not just, but other things. It was be you. And like when we came up, sort of, it's be you, but it was, how can you be different? How can you take what everybody's talking about and say, and talk about it in a different way? Now, some people can take it that way to heart and do well with it and dig deeper. But some of that dig deeper gets you to a place of saying, damn, I know what the issue is with Anthony Edwards. He needs to be a family man like Kobe was in Colorado. He needs to be a family man like Magic was saying, oh, I used to have 7 at a time. Like he needs to be a family. Like,
the Magic thing was absurd.
He said Shaq too. Like he's
Magic Johnson literally got HIV.
Shaq
seven at a time is wild work.
Shaq started dating Hoops from.
Ooh, she was fine. I remember her. She was super fine. That the yellow bone.
Yes, like
she was bad.
So I'm just like, come on, man, and I just like I don't know. It just gets us to that place. But Steve, man, you gotta let this get to you, man. The Kendrick Perkins thing just runs your ass right into a crazy, crazy space. Just let it ride.
Just bad at his job. I don't respect him as a person, as an analyst, as a basketball player,
as a person,
or as a man.
Someone just sent me a riddle and said, "What has an eye but cannot see?" And I said, "Stevie Wonder."
Do people just send you riddles? Like that's a.
I guess the answer was Needle. So I guess it wasn't Stevie Wonder.
I suppose if it was like who has an eye but cannot see, it'd be a riddle, or it would be Stevie Wonder.
I'd go Stevie. I went Stevie. I do want to get to the heat check coming up, but
also wait. Do people just send you riddles? Like that is a good question.
Sometimes it just happens. Like, hey,
like
man,
why?
Random things. I don't know. It just
who is this person? I have so many questions.
More than one person sends you a riddle, like on a fairly consistent basis.
I didn't say it was more than one person.
Do you have like a riddle group chat?
It would be fun. I don't have one, but like is
that like a book club for people overseas to make sure that your mind is still working? Are people just trying to make sure that you're not like
from
like
time
going
to time
crazy
people
don't
don't
your mind?
From time to time people don't send you riddles?
Fuck no. Matter of fact, if somebody just sent me a random riddle, I'd be mad. I'd be like, what the fuck? You think I have time for this shit? No, dude. Get the fuck out of here. Google that.
No one has ever sent me a riddle in my life.
No.
That's ever happened.
You would enjoy it, right? You're a thinker. Before we get to the heat check, Serda's going to be out of town. And so I know Brandon Scott's going to be with us on one night. And Brian B. Shining is we're working to get him. And I've already expressed to Brian And because Brian to me feels like he is on the opposite edge of it. Really, really not the opposite, further on the edge. Even though Brian is half white, it seems like he really slides over to the black portion of his culture. And we have Serda doing Black Movie Review, and I want
Black Movie Review.
I want Brian to do White Movie Review coming up in your place. We still have Serda.
I get to name the movie.
Fresh. I was gonna say before we do get to the heat check, like what's a good solid white movie that I would imagine that maybe he hasn't rolled in. That's like
There Will Be Blood.
I mean, shit, that's great. And There Will Be Blood's a masterpiece.
That's the widest. I mean, either
One
that
of
or
my
Wes
favorite
Anderson.
movies ever made. Paul Thomas Anderson. Daniel
Yeah, it's a great
Day-Lewis.
movie. It's the best
Oh my
movie.
God.
is it, but There Will Be Blood. That's just
No,
like
you
a
got to
really-
make him. You got to make
watch a
him
Wes
watch.
Anderson flick.
I'm just saying that
Yeah,
we're
That's
making
like super wide.
we're making Serda watch.
make him watch Asteroid City.
I'm about to say
Dude,
we're
that movie
making
was trash though. That movie
we're
was
making
ass.
we're making Serda watch Paid in Full and Fresh. I'm just saying, what is the equivalent of that? Is it The Notebook? Like, I mean, like
We're not trying to go soft. Like
I
it's
can't
just
do
like-
that. I do
I'm-
feel like the mass audience appeal opens it up a little bit here.
The Notebook.
those
really?
of you who are, I'm just saying,
I
those,
wouldn't pick like an action movie.
those of you on the chart, yeah, because he may have seen it.
Yeah.
Those of you on the chat, like if we're in the '80s, Richmond, and maybe this works. What's that, Richmond?
Oh, Fast Times.
Fast
Yeah.
Times at
Best
Richmond.
times
High.
are Richmond High.
Like I'm thinking, like that is, like like has he seen a Super Bad? But like shit, like that, like.
Oh, super bad. That movie's so good.
But I feel
He's
like
probably seen super bad.
he's probably seen something like that. Like I'm saying, like what's a good, solid? Oh, this is a white
Breakfast Club.
If there was a version of that right now, like I feel like he's seen that.
I feel like a lot of people have seen Breakfast Club.
Osita, there's probably. I wouldn't be surprised if
See, I
the way he moves that he may have not run into the Breakfast Club.
I make
I-
him
that-
watch Harry Potter or something.
Okay, I mean,
He might have seen Harry Potter. Everybody saw Harry Potter.
no, hell no.
Does he have kids?
No,
No, he ain't got no damn.
No kids. Okay.
I don't think he's seen Harry Potter.
I mean, I may have to just Google this up, and people might think I'm some sort of a crazy killer. What are white movies? Like,
I mean, I can bet you that he's never seen like Darjeeling Limited or something like that. Like I keep thinking of Wes Anderson movies.
Yeah, but not very many people have seen that.
Yeah.
And the Grand Budapest Hotel. That's at least a better.
oh yes, that is
Which one?
The Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh, Grand Budapest. Yeah, that's a good one.
What's that other one with Bill Murray, and he's
Oh yeah, Life Aquatic.
Yeah.
I was thinking of another one. He's like a really mean guy that's a neighbor, and and they sit out in front of the house all the time.
Oh, that's not Wes Anderson, but
Saint,
I know what movie you're
it's
talking
Saint
about.
something.
Saint something. Yeah,
I don't remember.
it came out like maybe like 5-6 years ago or some shit.
I just
Oh,
I'm trying to think. I'm just trying to think of a good solid one that white folks love.
You can watch like Being John Malkovich.
Oh,
Oh my god.
yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, because it can't be something like Con Air. Like that. That's something we got.
It's two action like franchise.
I brought your bunny. I love that
Yeah.
movie.
Like, there's a
Got the
risk
bunny.
that he's seen that because
He's
that was
probably seen the Jason Statham movies. So, I mean, it's got to be. You think he's seen Full Metal Jacket?
Oh my god, were we trying to fuck him up? Like Jesus Christ, what are we doing?
I'm just saying.
Calm down,
Make
dude.
him- it's gonna
That'll
make
make you
him
look
watch
at the world
Stanley
different, dude.
Kubrick movies.
Yeah, no, man. You want to watch Eyes Wide Shut? No, dude. Like, it's trying to be fun. We're trying to be fun here, not like
Eyes Wide Shut. That would be a strong one.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not doing that to that man. He's gonna go out there thinking that all that Hollywood shit is crazy. No, man, no.
It's got to be within reason too. I just want to
Yeah.
check long. That's a commitment.
Yeah.
Let's make him watch Brutalist.
God, man, I'd like to get something I've seen. I wonder, has he seen Shallow Hal? Has he seen
Yeah, that movie's garbage.
I feel like anything that was on Comedy Central, we probably should stay away from because he's probably seen it.
I had something else that slipped my mind.
The Royal Tenenbaums.
I love that movie.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
But Danny Glover's in that. Yeah.
Hey, Danny.
I got it.
Danny Glover out there stealing people's women in that movie.
I got
dude.
I got it. Almost Famous. There's no.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Either that or Dazed and Confused.
Yes, either that. Almost Famous.
I think Almost Famous is better because I don't even think Dazed and Confused is that good of a movie.
But Almost Famous.
I do really like Richard Linklater and like his movie style. I don't think the Dazed and Confused.
What other movies do you like? Do you like the After Midnight and all that shit, or Midnight in Paris, or like what? Like
I really like. He just did
Boyhood?
this movie called Hitman. Yeah, Boyhood's a good movie, but he did this movie called Hitman with Glenn Powell. That's tremendous. Like,
Hitman is good. But no, I think Almost Famous. It's got music in it. I think like there's a music thing, and there's no way he's seen it
because it's like live performances and stuff. Like, I don't think Dazed and Confused. Like, it's like kind of like the coming of age story, but Dazed and Confused never really like hit.
This would be great because I showed him and sent him Lawrence, and he acted like it was the worst thing he's ever heard in his life.
Oh, just a bunch of theater kids.
He told me,
man, singing gospel music.
And that man, they cold blooded, man. Shit, man. But no, Almost Famous. That is strong. I think that's it. So he's gonna do Almost Famous if he joins us. A little heat check here for us.
All right, guys. So for today's heat check, I console with some people and some people in the industry on how I can bring you top-notch hot takes that you will enjoy as viewers, guys.
Just be yourself, man.
One thing won't be yourself, but one thing I was told was know your audience. Know your audience, right? And I realized this used to be a Chiefs-centered podcast, so I want to talk about the Chiefs for a second, okay? Because I found a story while I was perusing through the internet yesterday, and I sent it to these guys, and they just kind of like brushed it off like it was no big deal. And I have so many questions about this thing. I want to talk to y'all about the ChiefsAholic.
Of course.
Free my guy. ChiefsAholic. He's in.
Free him.
Don't free him. Free him. He didn't kill nobody.
He's a proven serious criminal.
Hey, look. Xavier is a diehard.
Also,
Chiefs
I
fan.
never met him, but 100%, I guarantee that guy was a huge douchebag at Chiefs games.
Hey, look.
They said they loved him. They said they loved him.
People seem to love him.
People were greatly concerned about him when he went missing.
So, for those of you that don't know, ChiefsAholic was a diehard Kansas City Chiefs fan in a wolf costume. Turns out he just wasn't stealing hearts in the stands. He was allegedly stealing actual money from banks. He was fucking robbing banks, guys. And so in 2022 and 2023, he allegedly hit 11 banks in like 7 different states, which is fucking wild. He racked up to like $850K, and he tried to clean it all through casinos and sports betting because for some odd reason, it's legal now. After one robbery, he got released on bail. He got caught up, released on bail, decided to do the dash, cut his ankle monitor off, and then he got a bunch of more felony charges. He got caught in California, and they gave him 32 years, guys. 32 years.
Well deserved.
32 years. Look, I thought once a Chiefs fan, always a Chiefs fan. You know what I mean? Like, why don't y'all have his back now?
He was committing
Y'all had his back.
robbery.
Y'all had his back when he had the costume on.
He grew this like big social media following, and again, total douchebag online. And he would like post every day about like all these like crazy like $1,000 parlays that he's betting or whatever. And then people would be like, "What do you do for a living?" And he would just blatantly lie, be like, "Oh, I run my own business and I own this thing and I do this and I do that." And he was literally all the time just robbing banks to pay for high-end Chiefs season tickets to travel to go see them everywhere across the country and place outrageous parlays on the campus.
Destroyed lives.
He was a real Chiefs fan, Steven. I don't know how, like, maybe you're a fair weather fan. I don't know.
I know more about the Chiefs than that guy could ever dream.
Hey, just because you know more doesn't mean you got more heart than he does. He obviously had heart because he decided to rob 11 banks for almost $1 million. And for some reason, he has to pay back like $10.8 million, which I find wild. I guess, like, you know, suffering and damages and stuff like that. But like, that's crazy. They pretty much like upped it on him. But I'm just saying, y'all aren't going to put money on his books while he's away. Y'all aren't going to take care of your boy.
What are you doing?
Y'all are just going to leave him out in the cold?
What are you doing?
Mahomes ain't gonna hook him up.
It's not even like he was like wrongly convicted.
No,
it is very proven.
Mahomes.
But he said he was guilty. He said yes, I'm guilty because I was such a huge fan of Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid that I made it my life's duty to make sure that I had the money to be the ChiefsAholic wolf in the stands, that notable face that you would see in every game, that iconic character that would grace people's Instagram pages, and now that he's in a point of, you know, he's down bad. I mean, down really bad. Y'all are just gonna turn your backs.
Yes,
just gonna turn your backs on.
I never had my front to him. I don't know what you're doing here. If there is no belief in my system or anyone's system that X went over there and just robbed all of these banks just so he could be the ChiefsAholic at games. No, I think he robbed it for his own personal gain. God bless his mother, who's just living out of a car and peeing in bags and going. They
what?
Watch it. They love them from Target.
I didn't actually watch the documentary.
They love them some Target.
I refuse to spend time on this.
And he shows even more why, you know, he's in the spot that he is in. Hell no. I look, man. I didn't have a back to turn on him. Hell, I never knew him. Patrick Mahomes ain't putting shit on his books.
Should I watch the Amazon documentary that came out? Because they literally turned around an Amazon documentary in like 6 months.
They did.
I can't wait for the Diddy one. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I feel like that one's gonna be epic. Just
that dude. Hey, go watch that. Like, he is a dumb individual.
Hey,
just a dumb individual. And he thinks, like, when Serda says, what did you call him? A douchebag? Is that what you call him?
Yes.
Like he is an ultra lame. I mean, one of the lamest. You can tell he's been lame most of his life.
He had the arrowhead tatted on his biceps. He's cool. He's a cool guy. What are you talking about?
He's cool.
He's a badass.
Yeah, that's what the Texans fans do.
Look, they could have made a great A fucking movie based off this Chiefs fan. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. All I'm saying, directors out there, if there's anybody out there that's in Hollywood, that would make a great movie. I'm just saying.
Listen, I ain't gonna force Deshaun Watson to be once a Texan, always a Texan, and you're not about to force Xavier on Chiefs Kingdom that he's a Chief. I ain't about to force it. So I ain't gonna put you. No, hey, you want to throw your Watson jersey away? Hey, I got you. Understand?
So what happens? What happens when y'all find out that Mahomes is doing some dirt on the low? Y'all just gonna drop him like you did X?
If Patrick Mahomes starts robbing people and robbing banks, and if you go watch the documentary, like completely, just traumatizing multiple people, of which he put these guns up to, and they thought their lives were done and they can't even work anymore. Yes, I will turn my damn back on Patrick Mahomes. Damn it, I've almost turned it on his brother. So, yeah, I will turn my back on Patrick, Jackson, Randy. I've damn near turned my back on Randy's punk ass. All of them. And maybe that's a little.
You hear that, Patrick? You hear that?
I would.
These are your fans. These are your fans. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, I greatly admit I'm a fan of a person until they do things in which they are guilty, that puts them in jail for 32 years, and they have absolutely traumatized people. Yes, I am that. Damn right I am. That is wild as hell. I was like, what the hell are you trying to accomplish here? What are
you said be myself, man.
Yeah.
This is me.
Yeah,
this is me.
I'm
just a little shit starter, dude. That's what I do.
Yeah, this was just never going to work. Yeah. But again, if you watch the documentary, he has some saluters. He has some people who really believe.
Yeah. Hey, those are the ones. Ride or die. Ride or die.
Hey, man. Hey, Serda, some people were brought to tears, and I was just laughing at them, just laughing hard at these people. I'm like, have you been brought to tears? Like, come on, man, get up out of here.
Hey, free my guy.
It's NFL super fans. Weird community. Weird community.
I've met a couple of them at the Texans games. There's like this nice couple that usually comes up. They actually showed up to the Texans Chiefs game that we did at that one bar. They're super cool.
Yeah, literally, and it's fine until you go out here and just start robbing motherfuckers left and right and putting guns and doing all this and like. No.
Sometimes you got to risk it to get the biscuit. And speaking of biscuit, I got cookies one time when I was in high school.
Chocolate chip?
No, they were more of a snickerdoodle because it was like cinnamon, because she was a beautiful, beautiful redhead.